Hi, today we're taking a deep dive focus into breath of fire, or Kapalabati breath. It's a very powerful pranayama technique from the Kundalini yoga tradition. It's useful for invigorating, energizing, reducing stress and anxiety, getting you clear, sharp, and focused on the present moment, and just all around feeling good. It takes a little bit getting used to, and it'll take a few tries and a few practices to get into the zone. But once you nail this breath, it is so worth it because really, literally, any time throughout the day when you could use a little bit more energy, when you need to de stress, when you want to feel more alert, more focused in the moment, you can use this breath for as little as a minute and a half up to maybe 15 minutes at a time to really, really shift your mood and change how you feel in the present moment. It's so powerful and it's so worth it. I'll first demonstrate what it looks like, and then we'll walk back and break down all the parts and pieces. And also, you can practice in a good place to begin and how you can work your way up to this breath. So, ideally, you're breathing about 2 to 3 times per second. And I hate to use the word ideal, right? But the the most effective breath is when you breathe 2 to 3 times per second. And it's an active exhalation through your nose with a pumping of the belly. So it looks like this. So, right, as I'm breathing, it's the pumping motion of the belly that forces the air out through your nose. You're focusing on the exhale, and the inhale takes care of itself. So, as you pump your belly in, air comes out your nose. When you relax your belly, when you relax your stomach, your diaphragm relaxes, the air rushes in. So, you don't even need to think about the exhale. It is not a forceful breath by any means. I've seen people slamming their belly in to pump the air out. And granted, when you first start and you're not used to this action in your diaphragm, you can want to overcompensate a little bit, but know that it doesn't have to be a forceful breath. And although it is called breath of fire, you don't have to be breathing fire out of your nostrils to get the most out of this breath. Really, the fire references the heat that it generates within and the energy and how alive you feel after this breath. So this is, if you've been practicing for a while, that's what you're aiming for. And it doesn't need to be too fast either. But if you're just starting out with this breath, there's a lot of parts and pieces, and you can want to start out with a slower breath and a little bit more mindful. It's not a contest to see how fast you can do it. And if you're not used to moving that much oxygen, you could get dizzy or lightheaded if you try to do too much too soon. And remember that in pranayama, being dizzy doesn't equal enlightenment, right? That's not the goal. We're not trying to get lightheaded. It's pointed and conscious breath. So if that means that you need to start out slower, which most people do at the beginning, that's great. So in order to nail breath of fire, you first need to make sure that you're using your diaphragm correctly as you breathe, right? So when you breathe in, your belly should be expanding. And I know, ladies and gents, that it's not considered attractive to have a big belly in our society and to let your belly hang free. We are taught to keep everything sucked in. So oftentimes what happens is if I say, take a big breath, many people go, and this is not doing yourself any favors for so many reasons. By holding your belly in and sending your breath up into your chest, you're impeding the action of your diaphragm. So the way your diaphragm works is it's this little muscle here. And when you breathe in, the way your body works is as you breathe in, the diaphragm relaxes down and that pushes your belly out. But it makes way for your diaphragm so that your lungs can then open and expand and fill with air. And then as you breathe out, your diaphragm comes back up into its place under your rib cage. And so your belly can come in. And when you breathe into your chest and keep your belly sucked in, you're not allowing your diaphragm to expand. And you are restricting how much breath you can really take in. And it's creating all this unnecessary tension in your chest. So if I say, take a big breath in, and you notice that you go like this, it's called paradoxical breathing, and it's easy to fix. Actually, not only for the purposes of this exercise, but you will be changing your whole life in general if you can retrain yourself to breathe the other way. So first things first, don't worry about your belly moving in and out. It's a body, it's human, it's natural. Um, One way that you can do this is to lay down on the ground and simply place your hand on your belly. And notice that as you breathe when you're relaxed, your belly naturally rises and falls. So you can go with the natural rise and fall of your belly. And once you get comfortable with that, you can try that sitting up. Once you have gotten to a place where when you breathe in, your belly goes out, you're ready for breath of fire. So it's always good to start slow. And in order to get the pumping motion of the belly to be a natural thing, a really good trick to start out is to stick your tongue out and pant like a dog on a hot summer's day. Don't worry, nobody's looking except for me, and I can't really see you anyway. So you stick your tongue out and pant like a dog. Place your hand on your belly and notice this pumping motion of your belly. You can do it just a few times until you catch the rhythm of your breath. And when you catch the rhythm of your breath, pull your tongue in your mouth, seal your lips, and breathe through your nose. As you're breathing, focus on the exhale, right? So focus on the pumping of your belly up and the exhale. Let the inhale take care of itself as like an equal but opposite reaction. If you get dizzy or lightheaded at any point, stop, take a break. It's not a competition here. Just take a moment, let yourself regroup, and then come back to the breath when you're ready. It's helpful when you're breathing to think about bringing your belly button in and up. So not just in, but in and up. And what that is doing is helping your diaphragm to forcefully, gently but forcefully, expel air from your nose. And then once you relax your belly, it's your diaphragm opening up, the air just comes in all on its own. As I said before, you'll want to work your way up to taking 2 to 3 breaths per second, but this can take some time to work your way up to that. And it's okay if you start out with 1 breath a second or every second and a half, that's fine. Really just listen to your body and what your body wants in this moment. Once you're at a place where you can take at least a breath a second or maybe 2 breaths a second, then you're ready to go a little bit deeper into the breath. So I highly recommend before you continue watching this video and going into the next part that you really master the slow breath of fire. And you can work on it just a couple minutes a day or a couple minutes twice a day, and that's great. So if you want some guidance and you want me to be there with you while you're doing the breath, let's do a little bit of slow breath of fire right now. Awesome. Great work. And remember that this doesn't need to make you dizzy or lightheaded. If you do feel overwhelmed by the breath, please take a pause and slow down. But when done correctly, this breath, because of the way you're utilizing your diaphragm, it doesn't make you dizzy or lightheaded once you kind of master the breath. If you're ready to move on to part two, taking an even deeper dive into Breath of Fire and moving on to a faster version of it, then you can join me in the next video, part two. I'll see you there. Satnam.